It's Thursday, March 31st, and you're listening to the Geek News Central podcast, sponsored by GoDaddy.com. Geek News Central is a program of the Tech Podcast Network. Everyone got a great show lined up for you tonight, and yes, we're doing something a little bit different on video. We're doing a little bit of green screen and a virtual set. If you haven't watched the show in a while, it might be a good opportunity to check out what I've got kicking. Anyway, got a lot for you tonight. You know what comes next. Strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
We're go fly.
Microphone.
We're go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right, I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There is no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Aloha and welcome to the Geek News Central podcast, coming to you as live as it can be from the beautiful state of Hawaii via the Geek News Central studio overlooking Greater Oahu. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. My name is Todd Cochran, and of course I want to give a warm welcome to the Ohana, all of you that are longtime listeners to the show, part of the family here. Thanks for being subscribed, staying subscribed, and encouraging others to subscribe. And of course, if you're new to the show, make sure you get over to geeknewscentral.com and check out all the great content over there. We've got a great lineup of writers creating a lot of great tech content for you. And of course, I come to you 3 times a week with shows, one Monday night, one basically they're released Tuesday, Friday, and then I have a Saturday morning tech show that comes out over the weekend. And we've added one new show to the lineup today. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But first things first, I want to, of course, encourage all of you that are new to get subscribed to the show. You can find the link to subscribe via the second column of the website at geeknewscentral.com. There's a link there for iTunes, for Zune, for standard RSS feed. Of course, you can watch online. You can watch on a Roku. You can watch on Boxy. You can watch on Looky TV soon. That's forthcoming here in a few weeks. And along with Samsung IPTV and a whole bunch of other stuff. So there's plenty of ways to watch the show no matter what screen you're looking at, whether it be your iPad, your iPhone. You can consume or listen or watch the content, whichever your heart desires. And of course, we encourage you to stay abreast of the show by signing up for our newsletter. The newsletter contains everything that I'm going to cover during the show. All the links to all of that content will be in that email that comes out on the newsletter. And that way, when you're listening, you'll have something to follow along. Or you can just come over to geeknewscentral.com, click on the podcast link on the website, and that'll get you into all of the archive podcasts. If you're watching us tonight on Ustream or on Justin.tv, welcome to the show. And yes, we are in the virtual studio. And I got a little green screen. I'm going to jack this up 25 times. Green screen technology going on. And just to kind of show you how this works, those of you that are watching, watch my arms, okay? Watch. You can see the space I'm working in here. Kind of cool, yeah? So as long as I stay in here, it looks, well, it doesn't look completely real, but it's definitely a little bit different motif. And of course, we've got the monitor up. You can actually see the website. And one thing I want to point you to is today over at geeknewscentral.com. And if you're looking at the website, you'll notice that there's a new entry basically in the second column of the website entitled The Gadget Professor. Today we launched The Gadget Professor, and our new host that's going to be working with us at Geek News Central's name is Don Bain. And Don is a brand new media creator. He's never created content like this before. He does have professional video and audio experience. And Don is, I'm excited to have Don on board, but he is the Gadget Professor. And you're going to be able to check his shows out. They're going to be released every Thursday on geeknewscentral.com. And I've already seen the first 2 episodes. Of course, the first one is up for your consumption. We need to get the show now submitted to iTunes and Zune, so it'll be a few days before you'll be able to subscribe that way. But definitely check out The Gadget Professor, because it's a it's going to be a cool. He's developing the show. Episode 2 is a lot better than even episode 1. So he's made massive improvement from 1 to 2. But I think you're going to be pretty excited to see what he's done just in the very first episode. So we welcome Don to the team, and you can follow him, of course, at Gadget Professor on Twitter. Matter of fact, I think he's still validating that account, and hopefully you can do it. But anyway, the show file is there, and you can watch, and we definitely encourage you to do so. But anyway, lots of stuff going on at Geek News Central. I'm in right now in fast development of the show number 2. We kind of got the pieces in place now, so I can go through very quickly and get additional shows added. And we're actually going to bring on a show to the network that is not 100% tech. The host is in San Francisco, and we're going to kind of cover kind of that, the West Coast vibe and what's going on. So it's going to be kind of a different type of show. There'll be some tech in it, but I'm excited to bring that on, and he's promising to get me a pilot here relatively quickly, and we're going to move forward with the second show right off the bat. But anyway, first things up, of course, make sure you check out the Gadget Professor, and we want to welcome Don to the team here at GNC. And I know you'll subscribe and enjoy the content. I will. I'm already enjoying it. Well, let me look at my list here. Hey, yes, we're doing a little green screen trial tonight. So those of you who are watching on the video, let me know what you think. And I thought before I would go on is I just kind of show you how we trick this. I can bring up another monitor or another view, and I can actually enhance what you're seeing on the screen. And we can even do a little bit here of switching sides with the content. And even more fun is if I want, I can kind of do a far out view, and I can run video.
All right, people, I need a go-no-go for the
that's
Geek News
playing, so we're not going to let that play anymore. So that was over talking me. Sorry about that. So we can play video if we want to up in the screen, and I can enhance stuff as well. But lots of cool things I can do with this. Let's blow it out a little bit further. We can go this way. I can try this. I can actually put the computer screen behind me, which is kind of fun. And I got a logo back here as well. So all different ways to mix this thing up and have a little bit of fun with it. But pretty cool what the technology is available. And this, of course, is on the TriCaster. And really what has happened here today is the new control surface has came. And what I'll do, let's see if I can come out of green screen mode for a second. And I'll go down onto, let's see here, and I'll show you. Can I show you the new switcher and what this thing actually looks like? For those of you that are not watching, there is a significant video or a post up on geeknewscentral.com that lays it out. So let me go to this view. So we come out of green screen mode. You can see part of the green screen in the back. But look at this massive switcher here. And it really lets me do things with the TriCaster I never really imagined that it could do. And because there's only so much you can do with the mouse, but everything right here at my fingertips. And this thing is massive. It's huge. So I'm sure I'm going to be flubbing the wrong finger a few times here and there. So I hope that you'll put up with me. All right. Let's go ahead and talk just a little bit about a couple of things I saw in the news today that were non-tech related that I thought was kind of cool. And some things that, it was weird. The news was going and I was listening to it in the background. And did you hear about General Electric not doing like $5 million and $5 billion in profit and not paying any taxes? For a small business owner who paid a lot of taxes last year, it just makes me angry. How can you have $5 billion in profit and not pay any tax, any federal tax? I just don't get it. I really don't. Did I say property tax before? Yeah, federal tax. Insane. Yeah, really. How can this be? We have definitely got to fix these these tax loopholes that these companies are able to get around with. And another thing too is I heard that possibly Donald Trump was thinking about running for president. I thought, that's an interesting thought process and how that goes through. One thing's for sure, I think you'd have a pretty straight shooter if he runs, but we'll see. They all turn into politicians at some point, right? So anyway, we still already talked about in the last show a little bit of format change to the show coming up, and have not really started working on that. May do that over the weekend, and we'll see what we can implement piece by piece starting in April. And no major massive changes, but we'll make a little bit of changes. Hey, I do want to, on the last episode, and let me reach over here. Like how I kind of bounced out of the screen. On the last episode, I talked about ending the contest that we were having early and giving away this GoFlex Slim Seagate hard drive. It's a 300 and I believe 80 gig drive. Actually, I'm done with the usage on it and doing the review. So I'm going to be sending this out to our contest winner, whose name is Justin Stockman. Justin Stockman, congratulations. You are the winner of the Seagate GoFlex Slim. It's a USB 3.0, USB 2.0, very slim drive, very thin and narrow. It's pretty cool. It's this is the size of it. But anyway, that was done in, boy, that's kind of weird if I reach my hand up there close. So I'm learning some things to do and not do at the green screen. But anyway, long story short here, this will be going to him as a contest winner, and we'll have another contest next week with some other gear. I've got, I think, a Dynamo label printer down here we need to give away. So we'll come up with something new on the next go-around. But congratulations to Justin Stockman. We'll have a Saturday morning tech show, and we're going to have 2 of our regular guests on. So plan to get started on that at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern. So if you want to join me here, I'll have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning Honolulu time to be ready to rock and roll on the show. Hey, we are at the end of the month here. And at the end of the month, I always do want to thank our sponsors. So, of course, I want to thank GoDaddy. I want to thank the folks at Luxor and the folks at Audible. Matter of fact, this ends the sponsorship by both Audible and Luxor. On the next show, they will be standing down. And they were our sponsors for CES. And as I've been talking to you for the last couple of months, getting a free book on me by going over to audiblepodcast.com/CES has been a great opportunity for you to try Audible out. And I've been enjoying a number of books through Audible, picking up one a month and with my basic subscription. And I hope that you'll consider this last one time to going over to audiblepodcast.com/CES and pick up a free trial there. And that's going to help us be able to support the show for 2012. So we hope that they'll come back on as a sponsor in 2012. Of course, we want to thank Luxor Las Vegas. Again, they were the ones that provided us the accommodations in Las Vegas, and we were able to basically stay at the hotel, and they fed us, and they did it was absolutely awesome. The facilities were great. I can't complain. What one iota, and had actually, my expectations were well exceeded from what I was expecting. And you guys know that I stay in a lot of hotels, essentially all across the United States. And I thoroughly enjoyed my stay at Luxor Las Vegas. And you can get some discounted rooms by clicking on the banner at geeknewscentral.com, going over to Luxor and booking your room. And make sure you tell the Luxor staff there, thanks for supporting the Tech Podcast Network team at CES 2011. All right, as always, GoDaddy here is a longtime sponsor, and you can find great domain names, great products and services out at GoDaddy.com. And really, .coms and .cos, it says it starts at $11.99. Now, if you're using my promo codes, you can use my ComSale or ComSale2 code to save money on .coms. And on the .cos, you can save money by using my standard promo codes that are available on my website by coming over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy promo codes. And you'll find a full list of those codes. Geek5 will save you 15% on any order of $20 or more. Todd20 will save you 20% on a 1-year shared hosting account. Aloha will get you $20 off any order of $75 or more. But please consider GoDaddy when you're getting ready to pick up a domain name, pick up a hosting account. Great products and services over there, and they're a longtime supporter of the show. And really, without them, these lights would not be lit. And the same thing goes with the folks over at Luxor Las Vegas. and, of course, the folks at audible.com as well. So we want to thank them for being sponsors here, and as we roll into the new month. Okay, let me go ahead and look at my list here. I think I've gotten through everything that I was going to cover. Not too much stuff to talk about tonight on an administrative standpoint. As always, you can become an insider of the show by going over to geeknewscentral.com/insider. If you consider yourself a super fan and you consider the work that I do here and the stuff that I bring to you, definitely consider becoming an insider of the show. I put in a massive amount of hours prepping and getting ready to do the show, producing it, and getting it up online. So we hope that you'll consider supporting the show here by becoming an insider. And of course, if you want to pick up some stuff to support the show, you go to cafepress.com/Ohana store. I actually haven't went over there in a while, and I was going to pick up a polo shirt. And let me see here, Ohana store. And let me actually bring this up on the website. So our super fan, Sam, out in Albuquerque, New Mexico, he manages the Ohana store. We got some nice black shirts. We've got green shirts, white. We've got mugs. We've got hats. We've got water bottles. We have coffee cups. We've got mouse pads. You name it, they've got it. Looks like you've got some, don't know if we've got polo. Yep, we got some white polos. I actually want some black polos, but Sam was having a hard time getting black polos. So we got stickers. We've got aprons. You name it, we've got it at the Cafe Press site at cafepress.com/Ohana store. Great way to show your support for the show. Part of the proceeds of your purchase comes back to Geek News Central, and also part of it is managed by Sam, our Super Ohana in Albuquerque. And if you got something you want to set up for the show, consider it, because we'll split the proceeds with you on it. And we want to thank Sam for being for managing the Ohana store over there. All right, lots to go through tonight, and let me go ahead and bring up the list of stuff I have. One of the challenges I'm going to have tonight is when I'm on an article that I don't think needs to come up on the screen, you're going to have to look at the old article. So, so excuse me if I do that, and but it's just getting used to trying to do this with the green screen is going to be a lot of fun. The first article is up over at michaelgeist.ca. And Michael's got this article talking about the cable company, specifically in Canada. The CRTC did a cable company did a submission to the CRTC. And I think this was Rogers that did the submission. And here's the thing that's amazing about what they actually revealed in their submission to the Regulatory Commission in Canada. They basically said that usage-based billings confirms what has been readily apparent to consumers for some time, in that there is no link between the price charged by ISPs for usage pricing and the actual cost to the ISPs. Now, this is what the cable company said. In order to be effective as an economic ITMP, the usage-based price component needs to be established so as to discourage use above the set limit. The price should incent use in excess of the limit only to the extent that the consumer would gain significant value from that usage. If the price is set substantially below the consumer value, it will have little influence on usage. It follows that the price does not necessarily reflect the cost of supplying network capacity. So this is what, again, was submitted. So just so you guys get this, okay? It follows that the price, in other words, the price they want to charge you for overage, does not necessarily reflect the cost of supplying the network capacity. And that they want to set the price and the limits based on, basically, they're trying to discourage people from using the net. So the behavior-based billing, not usage-based billing. So these claims about fairness and paying for what you use or cost to the network or overage pricing is not connected to or even a value or even a consideration for the internet service providers. So this is pretty revealing over there. And this has gotten a lot of play today. and made it across a number of Canadian blogs and newspapers. So I know we have a number of Canadian viewers and listeners that tune into the show. Love to hear your guys' feedback on this, because it's pretty extraordinary what they've really admitted here in this piece. I want to share you guys something here. I think I've got the video hooked up, or I mean the audio hooked up. And on Universe Today, SpaceX is getting ready to make a splash in a few days. And let me switch the mode here and bring this up. Let me play this for you. We'll see how this works out. And basically, SpaceX, and I'm just going to play it. You guys can hear it and watch it. They're talking about Falcon 1. And now Falcon 9. Talking about new 5 engines, 2 new rockets, 1 new spacecraft at a fraction of the cost. And they're saying, what's next? And they're showing this is going to happen on April 5th, something big. And they are indicating here that we're going to have some sort of, basically, they're going to introduce something new. And they got me pretty intrigued here on what they're going to announce. But it looks to me like they're going to announce the Falcon Heavy. And if that's the case, that means that essentially what's going to happen is we're going to potentially have a commercial heavy lift vehicle. So we'll see what they announce. But I think the video they put up on YouTube was pretty compelling. And those of you that are listening to the show, you'll definitely want to go over to the show notes at geeknewscentral.com and listen or watch the actual YouTube video that they put up. And they didn't have obviously there was no voice in there, so I tried to narrate as much as I could. But definitely see what SpaceX is going to be. By the next show, we'll know, or actually pretty close to the next show. Let's see, well, the next show will actually be... No, it'll actually be on the Thursday show of next week, so it'll be old news by the time the next show's around. But anyway, that's the gist of SpaceX kind of wetting our lips here, or making us wet our lips on potentially something coming. Hey, the folks over at the Hollywood Reporter at HollywoodReporter.com have essentially announced, and boy, this is going to be the fun part of not having ads pop up. They've announced that DirecTV is going to launch premium video on demand in April. Titles from Warner Brother, Fox, Universal will be available 60 days after the theatrical release for $29.99. Comcast and Vudu will begin a similar service at the same time. So essentially, if you want to watch a movie that's in the movie theater and you're going to be able to rent them for $29.99, I'm sorry. You know, they are doing their darndest, aren't they? They're doing their darndest to make sure that we pay big money for, videos that are just in the theaters. I'm sorry. I'm not going to pay $29.99. I will wait until they're available on DVD. With very few movies would entice me so much to pay $30 for a video on demand. It seems like an awful steep price to pay. I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you pay $30 for a movie that's in the movie theaters today that you can watch immediately? I don't know if I would. I really, really don't. It would have to be something that I would really, really, really want to watch. Other than that, I just can't see it. Hey, I was talking to some buddies of mine about this a couple of weeks. Living here in Hawaii, and having spent 25 years in the Navy. I've got a lot of military friends that are still here and people that have retired, and they were talking about basically the air quality in Iraq and other places. And we talked about it for a little bit, and I spent time in the combat zone when I was active duty. Of course, I've been retired now for 3 years, but they have a report upon Wired, and it's entitled, "This is Not Even Breathing is Safe in Iraq." And it talks about heavy metal exposure, talks about, essentially they burn everything there. There's not stuff that they really, put in the dumps. And so this, the air has high particulate levels of heavy metals and lead. And they're saying that, the military guys are, being exposed to this in country. And it's not a good thing. And, here we are, we're going to have our own version of Agent Orange for guys that have been in the military and in those war zones. Now, I will tell you this. One thing that was really interesting to me is when I was getting ready to retire, the folks at the Veterans Administration asked me if I had any type of um, congestive type issues. And essentially what they were trying to pull out of me was the same type of thing that happened with guys that were in Vietnam being exposed to Agent Orange, and then years later developing sicknesses, which, really thousands of Vietnam vets are still affected by today. So there was certain things on the form, and actually the VA liaison, it wasn't actually a VA rep, but it was some like a person that is outside of VA, Veterans Affairs, or it wasn't the true VA person, but it was someone that helps you fill out your paperwork. She was like, you don't want to mark that you don't have any issues. It says, you need to write in there yet to be determined in case something comes up later, then you can lay a claim against the government. Now, I was kind of like, oh, whatever. We didn't, we weren't getting exposed to anything. But then here's this Wired article talking about our guys over there being exposed to these heavy metals. So if you've got any people that you have any friends in the service, you may want to forward this article to them so that they are aware. Okay. All right. Police are using Skype to get warrants while they're at a crime scene. This is an article that's over on Tech Dirt, and this is pretty amazing. What's happening is in South Florida, the police are essentially emailing judges while still at a crime scene to get a warrant. As one of the police officers noted, it's like a virtual office and courtroom. So they're beginning to wonder if court functions are going to start taking place this way as well. So, if you've been pulled over and you've been speeding and, you tell the traffic cop, hey, I'm going to contest this speeding ticket. The cop said, okay, just 1 second, stand right here. And he gets out the camera and he, loads it up and says, hey, Judge, I'm here with Mr. Cochran, and he wants to contest the speeding ticket. And the judge is going to say, okay, state your case, and I'll tell the judge whatever my story is, and the police officer will tell his story, and the judge will rule right there, and the guy will take my credit card and run it through his thing, and I'll pay my fine and have my points assessed on the spot. This is what what it's coming to. If they can get warrants directly on the street, using Skype and email, well, what's to stop them from, trying you right there in front of the judge? So you're not even going to have to go to court. You're just going to have your day in court right there on the street. So better be prepared. Be prepared with your defense immediately, all right? The New York Times paywall continues to come up, and there is basically a question being asked. Is the New York Times paywall just a ploy to sell more print subscriptions? And if they look at the cost to deliver stuff, and you look at the cost of different subscriptions, okay, for example, if you want to have a Pandora subscription for a year, it's $36. Sirius XM, if you want a digital subscription, is $155. Rhapsody is $180. Amazon is $79. So that's Amazon, I guess their video service. Netflix is $96. Hulu is $96. If you want to subscribe to The Economist, it's $110. If you want the Wall Street Journal digital, it's $207. But if you want the digital edition of the New York Times, it's $455. Whereas you go and do home delivery with the New York Times, it's $285. Now, anyone that has common sense. And this is remarkable. Let me show you this graphic. Anyone with any common sense, if you want the Times that bad, you're going to subscribe to the print. Because who's going to pay $4.55 when, and there's the red graph, that's the delta in price, folks. It's just, it's off the chart. Who in their right mind is going to pay $4.55 when you can get the home edition delivered for $2.85 and then $3.22 after the first year? It's just shocking to me. It really is. So, I guess New York Times likes printing paper. That's for sure. Okay. What I've got here is I've got a overheating issue going on in this room because I failed to bring something down on one of the windows. So the temperature of the room has went up about 10 degrees since I started the show. I guess I'll have to suffer through. You guys won't be able to see me sweat. There's a case study done, and this is a case study done by TechDirt. And the last two articles have been by TechDirt. And it's a result of a model where they allowed people to decide what you would pay for a tangible good. And basically what it is that they said, okay, I need 3,000 people to agree to buy this specific item, and we need to raise about $50,000 to be able to do it. So they had some sort of design as a product. 3,000 people all came in and said, okay, I'm going to pay. One guy said $5, another guy said $20, another guy said $29.95. And when they filled all 3,000 spots, they actually came in around $45,000. They needed to raise $50K. So that experiment proved that some people would bid real low, some people would bid just about right. And what they end up coming back to the folks and saying was, listen, we really need at least $25 a piece for these. And people upped their bids, and they got more than $50K needed to do the manufacturing run. So it just turns out that through this experiment that they found out that people don't necessarily, they think that other people are going to bid a little more, and people have a tendency to kind of be a little bit cheap. So I found it pretty interesting, this study. So anyway, the link will be out in the show notes for you to check out and review. There's a good article on, I've been reading a lot about independent film creators recently, and just basically doing a little internal studying. And I found this video talking about the creators of South Park. Primarily Matt Stone was on talking about, Matt Stone and Trey Parker were talking about problems with the MPAA. And of course, we've talked about the MPAA here quite a little bit, but it just goes to show that the deck is stacked against anyone creating independent films, primarily because the MPAA is beholden to the people that pay their bill, and that's the major studios. So the gist of this was that the MPAA bent them over every chance they could get when they were independent, but yet when they were signed to a major studio, the MPAA all of a sudden become very reasonable and easy to work with, and were able to get suggestions on how to change some parts of their film to get the rating changed from NC-17 down to R. So they're pretty frank. And for anyone that's looking at doing independent film, this is a good video to watch. I have the link up for you in the show notes. Of course, since the last show, the folks at Amazon have announced the Amazon Cloud Music Service. And this is raising some eyebrows. And I went over and I looked at it and I signed up for it. And all you got to do is go visit Amazon.com, enter your username and password, and find the link that says upload files. You have to agree to the terms of service. And then you can upload up as much as 5 gigs of music or videos to the site. And then you can access your media wherever you're at. They give some storage options if you've got more than 5 gigs. And it's a little awkward to upload stuff, but boy, oh boy, the folks over at Amazon are under a lot of heat by the studios. Now, here's a little secret I'm going to tell you. I've had an Amazon S3 account for a long time, and I've got all my music, all my videos, everything backed up over there, and I've got all my music up on the cloud. Now I don't access it from the cloud. I just have it backed up there. And what's the difference? It's just the difference is a drive letter and a little interface, but yet the music folks have lost their have lost their mind, and saying that Amazon, we have to have licenses and so forth. But anyway, I've loaded up the Amazon.com website, and basically they have it right there on the front. So if you want to check this out, I say go try it right away before some sort of an injunction gets put in place for it. Okay, so we'll come back to the next article here. Mozilla's Do Not Track is gaining ad industry support. So if you don't know it already, one of the new features that Mozilla introduced in Firefox 4 is the Do Not Track D&T settings. When the user enables the D&T option in the browser preference dialog, Firefox will transmit a custom header in the HTTP request that will inform servers that the user wants to opt out of internet tracking. I'm going to suggest you do that because they're doing a lot now, tracking us around and serving us ads. And I get it all the time. I get served. I look for a certain product, and this article's over ours, by the way. I look for a certain product, and the next thing I know, for the next 2 or 3 days, I see that product being advertised to me. And so anyway, give this a try. But it is cool that this is being implemented, and some ad executives are being considering to support the actual method. On the last show, I think we talked about how the World of Warcraft user in Canada basically went after Rogers over the throttling of World of Warcraft. And the user's even more mad now because Rogers is now saying, and first of all, they admitted that they did it. We covered that in the last show, that they've been throttling World of Warcraft supposedly by mistake. But they now have basically said that they can't fix this till June. And this makes the specific user so incensed, is that he's basically saying, you got to find these folks. They're not living up to their service. The gentleman wants Rogers fined big money, and also wants to know if Rogers will be reimbursing her the $15 she pays each month to play World of Warcraft. And so anyway, that shows you that the power of one person can make a difference. And I don't know, I've never played WoW. I'm sure many of you have. But anyway, if you're a diehard fan and you're being throttled, I can understand why all these users are upset, and we all would be, quite honestly. Right, there's a hack going around right now. A massive SQL injection attack is making the rounds so far. 694,000 URLs have been affected. Specifically, a lot of podcasters have been affected because they're starting to see this SQL injection popping up into some iTunes listings, specifically because iTunes is polling folks' RSS feeds, and they're seeing these specific type of data. I'm trying to get more information on this, but what's going on and what you want to check in your SQL databases, you're going to want to look for essentially what is HTML in terms of JavaScript from a remote server, typically lisamoon.com and elisatachcarter.com. Don't go to these sites, okay? Please don't go over there. But if you see these in your log files, these are some malicious scripts that they're loading on those pages. And so the number of sites being infected are growing by the hour. And this has been pretty rapidly, and they haven't come out and said which specific CMS is being affected or who is being targeted directly, but there's definitely a huge attack going on right now. I tried playing the video in this specific article, but I couldn't. JavaScript kept crashing on me. So I want you guys to check out the video on the article that Basically, it's going to be entitled "Hurt Your Fingers." And what this is a game that's for the iPad. It's called Slice HD. And when you're playing with this on your iPad, you'll actually, it's so real that you'll think your finger's bleeding or you think that you've gotten cut. It's a $3 iPad graphic, and it's pretty, and there's just some sort of a visual mental thing that goes on that makes your brain think that you've cut yourself. And once you see this, you definitely got to check it out. So I'll have the link up in the show notes for you to review. Over at TechCrunch today, they were talking about an app called Boxcar. And anytime one of the lead bloggers over at TechCrunch says, "I've got an app that I just can't live without," I kind of sit up in my seat a little bit. And I, be honest with you, I was not at all familiar with this application. But what Boxcar does is it pushes real-time notifications for the service you love. And they've made a version available for the Mac. And, of course, it's available for the iPhone, iPad. And I'm going to be picking this up immediately following the show tonight and checking it out. But what is an app that you just can't live without? So what's something you're using right now that you spend a lot of time in? And I'm not talking about Twitter. I'm just talking about any other app, and not Facebook either. What are the apps you're spending a lot of time in? Love to hear your feedback on that at geeknews@gmail.com or the voicemail hotline at 619-342-7365. Or you can Twitter me at @geeknews and just let me know that way as well. All right. Google's newest mobile search feature. Wow. Have you seen this? If you haven't been to Google on your mobile phone, you got to look at what they have done. And I played with it a little bit before the show tonight. Let me bring up some screenshots here that were on Read Write Web. And they have done a nice job. And this is for Android. It's slick. It really is. And you definitely got to check it out. So if you've got an Android phone or even on an iPhone, you can use it as well. And this is pretty big update, and it's slick. It really, really is. So I have a link up in the show notes for you to check out. There's a good article over on Business Insider. It's talking about how many users does Twitter really have. Now, they have announced several times that they have something to the number of like 175 million different registered users. Now, having 175, look at this. This is like the third site I've loaded that's had an Audible ad. So with 175 million registered users, you just wonder how many of them are really, using the application a lot or using Twitter a lot. Well, there's a chart for that. And so basically what they've come up with is, and if you're looking at the left side of the chart, that's the millions of Twitter accounts. And on the bottom is the actual number of people followed. And what it really basically goes down to is when you get to about down to under 20, actually probably under 10 million accounts, there's a high percentage of people that follow about 50 people. Then it goes to 100, 150, 200, 250, and it drops to this really low line of folks following under 500 people. So only about half of Twitter's registered accounts follow 2 or more people. So right there, those are just kind of like worthless accounts. I know that I've got like maybe 10 Twitter accounts that we use for a variety of different reasons. Got some that are for the corporation and so forth. Only about 10% of the Twitter accounts follow more than 50 people. So that's 15 million. Only 15 million accounts follow more than 50. About 1.5 million Twitter accounts follow more than 500. So I'm in that range. I have like nearly 5,000 people I follow. And 2 accounts followed more than 524,000 people. Now, it's already impossible for me to keep up with everyone that I follow. But those accounts must be made up of superstars or something, because they have those limits built into the system where there's a ratio of how many people you follow and how many people you can, it's just, you can't do it. You can't follow that many people. So anyway, this article over on businessinsider.com. and I'll have a link up for you in the show notes. You can check it out. But it's true. Anytime someone says, we've got 200 million, it's just like Facebook. We've got a billion users, but how many of them log on once a month? Probably a higher percentage than Twitter has, that's for sure. I never thought about this, but maybe I did, but I just didn't really realize the severity of it. When the Earth gets hit like 2,500 times a month on little small meteorites, little tiny things. And they've got a radar. It's called the Canadian Meteor Orbit Radar, Seymour, that basically tracks all these itsy bitsy little meteorites. And I don't know how small they can track to, but it says that they can detect ionized trails associating with meteorites. And what they've been able to do is, since to the end of 2009, they measured over 4 million different orbits, and they're tracking that. So when folks are getting ready to do spacewalks on the International Space Station, they actually can reach out to this Canadian meteorite orbit radar, and they can say, okay, is it safe for the guys to go outside? Because obviously they don't want someone that's working on the International Space Station to, to get a punctured suit. It could kill them, just like a bullet going through them. So the question, though, is, the International Space Station's up there. Some of the skin on some of the on the system is not that thick. You would think that's a pretty big target. You'd think that they would have gotten whacked a few times. So I've never heard no history about that, about the, since the Soviets have been in orbit, now you've got the International Space Station. You've done, we've had shuttle on station for years, but we've never heard too much about like these micro meteorite hits on any type of equipment. You talk about all the stuff that's with all the satellites and so forth. I guess it's space is big and the areas that they consume is small, and it's just an odds thing. But it seems kind of odd to me that all this time and we've never had, at least I don't remember too many reports about anything talking about micro meteorite hits. Hey, over at NASA, they have gotten the first images back from Mercury, and some of these are pretty astounding. Mercury, it kind of looks to me like pudding almost. They've got some of it's pretty smooth. They've released some images of some areas that they've never seen before. Even some color images, some craters, and even some color composites as well. So I'm pretty stoked, and we're going to see a lot of cool stuff coming from the messenger that's in orbit around Mercury. And the spacecraft is set up to send back 1,500 images. It's going to be mapping of course, the entire planet at a variety of different altitudes. But I think this picture here pretty much speaks for itself. It's a pretty amazing picture. It's cool. And of course, this isn't the first spacecraft that's visited Mercury. A number of years ago, we had 3 pass-bys, but this is obviously the first time we're going to have this much of a detailed accounting of the planet itself, and they're hoping to find water and all kinds of different things as well. So we'll see how this turns out. I'm sure we're going to see lots of cool pictures coming back from Mercury, from the Messenger spacecraft. All right, looking at time here, doing okay. I guess I'm doing semi-okay for time. Hey, the European Space Agency's automated transfer vehicle, not only is it going to be bringing supplies, it's going to be acting as a fueling station. So they're going to be doing on-orbit refueling to the station, and they're going to be doing some orbit boosting with the spacecraft as well. And I guess that's going to happen on May 17th and 19th. But they brought up 225 gallons of propellant. So I don't know how much the propellant weighs, but that's going to transfer into the National Space Station for their own thrusters as well when they need to raise the orbit. The Japanese cargo aircraft itself, the H-2 transfer vehicle, burned up in reentry today. And remember, we talked about this on the last show. I was really curious to see what was going to develop with the sensor they have on board. They put on the what they call the Reaver, the re-entry breakup recorder. Well, you'll be happy to know that the Reaver did its job, and as soon as um, the trash in the vehicle burn up, this thing did do its job and was transmitting data back all the way down to ocean impact. And here's even the better part. Remember, they didn't have a parachute on this thing, and they were hoping that this thing would float. Well, it's still transmitting because it's floating on the ocean. They're saying the recovery of the device is not planned, but I think this is totally cool. They were able to attach this to a wall inside the Japanese space cargo ship, and as the vehicle was burning up in reentry, this thing withstood that initial heat up, and then it spun free. And this, I guess, this reentry must burn everything up to a crisp. It's not like you're left over with any pieces, but this thing called an MRSAT, basically made a phone call to an MRSAT satellite, basically said, hey, here I am, let's send some data, sent the data back, and they figured this thing will never survive beyond ocean impact. It did. Terminal velocity, there was enough air drag to slow it down enough so that when it hit the water, once it to come up from being submerged, it said, hey, here I am. So pretty cool, and I'm excited to see what data we get out of this, which they say could be 6 to 8 weeks. Now, scientists are proposing that if we want to search for alien life, we need to look around planetary bodies around failed stars. And they said that's probably a good place to look for aliens. I'm like, how do you do that? We already have a hard enough. I'm telling you, scientists sometimes come up with some crazy stuff. But anyway, if you want more information on how we can see aliens better, go over to space.com. Last space article for the night. Pretty cool picture captured. And let me bring this up. The NASA's Solar Dynamic Observatory. And let's see, I got to paste and go on this. The NASA's Solar Dynamic Observatory snapped this view of the sun fading into the shadow as it slips behind the Earth from the spacecraft's vantage point on March 29th. The image was taken during a so-called eclipse season when it flies behind Earth for up to 72 minutes each day. So pretty cool picture. And I've actually made this my new background on my computer today. So just amazing pictures coming from NASA. Just out of this world stuff. It really, really is. Skype had another outage yesterday. So if you didn't realize it, this is a second big outage they've had. Specifically, hit Mac users. Also, folks add Google Voice forwards to Skype numbers were silent. So if you had that problem, if you didn't even notice it, maybe you did, but they were definitely out for a number of hours. And at least this time it wasn't a complete meltdown like last time, but they did have another outage yesterday. All right, we have continued to see more people that are being sentenced to a hard time for actions involved in sharing content that they're not supposed to. In other words, copyrighted material. But specifically, a gentleman in 2009, he uploaded an unfinished copy of the latest X-Men movie. And basically, this was pretty unprecedented. And it was a leak that the movie theater or the folks that are behind the film were not expecting. But they were able to track this down to this guy that actually did this. And Fox was the studio, and they basically went after this guy in a huge way. So it looks like he is going to get a couple of years in the pen. They haven't sentenced him yet. His sentencing is due on September 19th. And but they feel that he's going to get a couple of years in jail for releasing this unfinished movie. This article is over on torrentfreak.com. But he pled guilty to this. So now the judge has got to decide what he's going to do. And apparently he's going to be fined as much as $250,000 as well. So a couple of years in jail plus $250,000 for uploading an unfinished film that he had access to. Are you a Windows Phone 7 fan? Well, Windows today kind of went behind the curtain and basically pulled the curtain back and unveiled some information on the Windows Phone developer blog. And this was at windowssteamblog.com. And here's basically the stats, a breakdown. 1.5 million is the number of Windows Phone developer tools that have been downloaded. 36,000 people are talking a lot about the number of developers in their ecosystem. They had 11,500 apps submitted. Let's see what else. 7,500 of them are making money. While 36,000 registered developers are nice to talk about, 1,200 newly registered developers are being added to the roles every week. Let's see here. 12 customers. Oh, see here. Windows Phone customers download an average of 12 apps each per month. That's a lot. So there's a whole bunch of stats here. Anyway, so link will be up in the show notes if you want to check this out. But definitely not as fast growth as the iPhone for sure. But hey, it's Windows. And do you have a Windows Phone 7? What do you like about it? What's the best thing you like about it? How many of you absolutely hate standard fingernail clippers? I'll be honest. I have probably in my lifetime bought 100 fingernail clippers, at least that many. It's a couple of year for sure, and they always get lost. Well, they never work. They're always bending. They just don't cut good. Well, the folks over at Gizmo have found a $70 nail clipper that's called Clip, KLHIP, and this is pretty cool. And this is definitely the ultimate nail clipper. If you're into having very precisely cut nails, this may be something you want to consider. You can find it at KHLIP.com. $70 for a nail clipper. So, the ones you paid $1 for. Now you can pay $70 for one that you'll probably lose just as easy. One thing that drives me crazy is I have my phone everywhere I go. Okay, and normally what I need what do I need? I need a driver's license. I need a credit card. Don't need too much else. And I really, I'm probably one of the few guys that hate carrying a wallet. It hurts my butt when I sit on it, and I don't like having to carry a wallet. And I've always wondered how come someone didn't come up with something to use with your phone to hold your credit cards, your ID. And I know the ladies are going to love this. I know that I'm going to love this, but it's called Spec. Spec candy shell card holds so you can ditch your wallet. This is a $40 item. Huge win. Beautiful. I can't believe it. Someone has come up with something really cool. And you can find this at specproducts.com. I'm going to order one of these and be wallet free. My car, I have a fob. I have it doesn't have a key, has a little fob. So all I have to do is, I don't even have to take it out of my pocket. I just press the button on my car and it knows I'm near and it unlocks. And however Mazda does that, I don't know. But it's just about minimizing stuff, and this is awesome. So anyway, this is another cool thing. And I found 3 or 4 good things today over at ogizmo.com. How many of you have kids that are running the water over in the bathtub? Well, this is the product for you. It's a water leak alarm. As a matter of fact, I've had problems underneath my kitchen sink from time to time. Got one faucet that doesn't, or one connection that just invariably will spring a leak. These are little devices you sit on the floor, and as soon as they detect water, they go, whoa, they blow at 100 dB. Going to order these because my kids are always running the water over in the koi pond when they're filling it up. I'm always getting, I've had a leak underneath the kitchen sink. Going to put one there, and I don't know what to do with the third one because I got kids that are big enough now they don't run the bathtubs over. But if you've got small kids that you're going to have to check out these water leak alarms. You can find these from improvementscatalogs.com. Link will be in the show notes. You can find it at 7gadgets.com as well. And they're real tiny. They're about the size of a thimble. So they're not big. They're not intrusive, but a cool little gadget product for you. Let's see, what else have I got for you? If you are a gamer, you're going to want to check out the Cyber Sniper Sonar 5.1 Championship PC Gaming Headset. This is by Cyber Sniper. SNIPA is how it's spelt. And I'm telling you, having a good headset for gaming or even Skype usage is awesome. So you can find this at Cyber, CYBERSNIPA.com. And it's a Sonar 5.1 Championship headset. This looks like a nice one. It looks comfortable, has a nice headset and everything. So definitely check it out. One thing I found cool was the folks at Sharp have created a commercial that is pretty cool. And I don't have enough time to play it in the show tonight. It's about 3 minutes long, but it's basically an advertisement for the Sharp Touchwood SH08C handset. It's a pretty cool, leave it to the Japanese to do a commercial like this. Very expensive. You can tell I spent a lot of time on it. Maybe, I don't know what the song was that they were trying to play. Maybe one of you guys can help me in the audience, but definitely check this out. Link will be up in the show notes for you, okay? All right, next article up. Roku's going retail. We're going to be able to get the Roku via Best Buy. You're going to be able to go to Fry's. They're going to be into many retail chains. So congratulations to the folks at Roku for making this happen. And I wanted to do that. That looks more natural. So they're going to have the XC set tops available for $79.99, and we just hope people go buy them. And this was an article over on GigOhm along with multiple other sites as well. Got a great. How many of you miss your Commodore 64? How many of you miss your Sinclair? How many of you miss your Commodore Amiga? Well, did you know there's some emulators out there? MakeUseOf.com's got a link of some good emulators. I have a link up in the show notes for you to check out. And I could have swore we covered this once before, but it popped today as a new article. I'll have the link up for you in the show notes. A couple of things have been posted over at GeekNewsCentral.com. One primarily is get a Google +1 button for your blog. Well, not quite yet. Google made an announcement talking about their +1 service, and basically this is a competition to the tweet button and the +1 voting for blog posts and also for search results is going to be showing up little by little, but yet they don't have them available for the blogs. You can sign up now if you want to be on the list so that when they come up with the widget, you can put it up on your website. So again, +1 is a new service that's going to be coming by Google. It's going to make you to basically improve search results and stuff that you're searching on a regular basis for. Hey, I want to give props to KL. She put together a great article on Google versus demand media. This is a great graphic that was provided by OnlineMBA.com. I'll have the link in the show notes for this. You got to go through and read this. If you're not familiar with, we've talked about this a little bit about how Google pretty much tore demand media up in some of their search algorithms and changes and trying to get rid of content farms. But it just goes to show this is a great write-up on demand media and basically the battle that ensued. So it's kind of more informational than anything. But definitely check it out. KL did a great job on this. Also, for those of you that are podcast or bloggers out there, you're going to want to make sure that you try the new Google Labs launch page speed test. Google has launched a new open source tool for webmasters called PageSpeed. It can be used both online or via a browser extension. It allows users to analyze basically their websites and see what loads fast and slow and gives you some idea. Google's going to be whacking away at sites that load too slow. And that's something we have to watch out for here at Geek News Central because it gets a little busy at times. All right, over at Engadget, they've reviewed Logitech's new wireless router. But this thing looks like it doesn't look like a router. When you see this thing, you're going to be like, "What is that?" It looks like a windmill more than a router. But where are you going to put this thing? Basically, it's like a standard wireless router, but out the top, it's got it looks like three props, like you'd see on a windmill. But this is the new router by Logitech that's getting rave reviews. It's been released in Japan. It's going to be in the United States pretty soon. It's going to retail for about $230. But Engadget is basically giving it like 5 thumbs up on this thing. So, but I'm looking back there where my router sits now, and this thing would not fit where this. I don't get it. But anyway, this is what's coming from Logitech. It get you the highest speed Wi-Fi transfers. Let's see here. What else do I have for you? Let me look at the time. We're doing okay on time. Israel has gotten its first EV battery swap station. I do have to show you this. This is smart. This is the way it's going to have to work in the United States if they want electric vehicles to really work. And let me play this for you. Let me bring this up here. And when you see this, it's going to make complete sense. Let me go ahead and start this and open this up. Essentially, what they have is a building. A car's driving up to what would look like maybe a service station. And she waves her little RFID tag in front of a monitor. Drives into the stall. And it basically grabs her car, pulls it up into position via some wheel braces. And then opens the door underneath the vehicle and lowers the battery out automatically. Puts it into a slot that's going to go into a charger to start charging. This is cool. And the vehicle is sitting there, and she's, doing whatever she's going to do. Put the new battery in, and off she drives. This is the way we're going to have to get our vehicles serviced. And Israel's the first place to have one of these. And this is up on YouTube, and I think you're going to be blown away by it. But I think it's called Better Place. So it's an EV battery swap station, makes charging stations obsolete. And while we don't know what it's going to cost, I just think this is going to be the way to go. If we're going to be able to use electric vehicles on a regular basis, I think that this is it. Now, of course, those of you that are listening to the show, I have the link up in the show notes for you to check out. And it'll be under electric vehicle charging or electric vehicle station. And you can watch the video on your own. One more thing that I do want to show you, too, is Adobe today announced and demonstrated a iPad app that's using Photoshop. Now, they said this is a concept, but when you see this thing, they have done something pretty remarkable here. And let me look at the time. Do I have time to play this? How long is this video? This video is... I better not play it. I'll have it up in the show notes for you. But it shows the layers. You can actually, when you're editing a video in the Photoshop iPad app, you're actually going to be able to turn the image and actually see the layers and make changes, and it's all touch-based. Pretty impressive. No date on when this is going to be available. Of course, they're saying it's concept, but it looked pretty doggone ready to me. And there's a little confusion about this demo and why they didn't announce some sort of date for it. But it's beyond anything I've ever seen on an iPad app for editing video. And it's some pretty cool stuff. It really, really is. And I kind of have you can't see it real good in the picture. All right, Google's making an app that would identify people's faces. Well, not so fast, but that's what was reported on CNN. Google says unequivocally, no, we're not. We're not making an app that will identify faces. We've already done that for 20 years. No, they said that they've got privacy issues to overcome and that they're not going to do this. We'll see. But CNN ran it. Of course, if CNN says it's got to be true, right? And anyway, that's the rumor. But Google says nope. All right, Mac users, some of you have, I've talked about this many times. I've talked about the amplifier inside your MacBooks are not good. And you basically, anytime you jack in straight to the audio on a Mac, you basically, the Mac has a set level amplifier. And when you increase the volume or increase the input level, it's a digital change. It's not a true amplified change. Duet is pretty amazing product, and they've had these out for a while. And the first one they came out with was Firewire based. But this is now a new 2-in, 4-out USB audio interface for the Mac. It's going to set you back about $500, $580. It's pretty awesome. It really is a redesigned mic preamp and converter. Again, it's got independent speakers. It's got a headphone out. It does balanced input. It's got capability going up to 192 kilohertz of recording. It's got a little touchpad. It even has an OLED screen showing stuff. This thing is slick. And for those of you that purchased the original Duet, you're going to be excited when you see this thing. This is a must for people that are podcasting with a Mac and are trying to go directly into the Mac with a headset or something like that isn't going through a preamplified interface. So definitely you want to check this out, and it's definitely a pro product. The folks in Japan have come up with a vehicle called the Sim Drive. It's achieved 207 miles of driving range in Japan, and we know that the Nissan Leaf does about 100 miles, but this vehicle, which is just a prototype, it's a 4-seater. Again, they've been able to kick it up where it's doing approximately, again, 207 miles. And they say that they're hopefully going to go into mass production in 2013. Does not say, it's not Toyota or anybody like that, but it's called the Sim Drive, Sim Lei, Lei, electric vehicle. So link will be up on that in the show notes. And actually, this electric vehicle, not too bad. And they get some styling done with it, it'll be better. But 207 miles on a single charge, as long as it doesn't cost too much, I could do that. Okay, last couple of articles here. Remember, today was World Backup Day. I hope you all backed up your computers, and because you really want to. If you haven't done it in a while, you don't want to be in a position that you end up with a hard drive that kind of looks like this hard drive. It doesn't. You don't want something that's charred and crispy or rattles when you shake it. Get your computers backed up. Today's a great day because you know what tomorrow is, right? Hotmail has added IE9 desktop notification support in Windows 7. So if you are a Hotmail user and you've got IE9 and you want to be able to see desktop notification and how many messages arrived since you've last checked your inbox, it's got a little pop-up box there that shows you how many emails you have. I haven't used Hotmail in years. I really haven't. Okay, last article for tonight is basically about Google. Google's tightening the reins on Android. They've slapped down many of the companies and basically saying you shall start playing nice and listening to us, and it's causing a little bit of consternation or a little bit of issues with some of the companies, but it's still open and they're trying to keep it open and they're trying to make sure that the source doesn't get fragmented. But this is a good article that was up over on Android Central. And why did I do that? And anyway, you can go through and read this. But I like it that Google is trying to hold the folks' feet to the fire to a certain extent and making sure that the Android source code doesn't get all out of whack and there's 25 different versions of it. Okay, got a couple of voicemails tonight. We'll play those, and then we'll get into the email. Of course, if you've got comments on tonight's show, geeknews@gmail.com. Geeknews@gmail.com. Voicemail hotline, of course, is 619-342-7365. And let me go ahead and play the first voicemail for you.
Hey, Todd. It's Seth from Michigan giving you a call. Got a very brief comment. Listening to your latest podcast, and you're talking about the Canadian ISP Rogers and how they are throttling or accidentally throttling World of Warcraft content, and that they had said that they didn't try to, that it looked like it was BitTorrent content. That may actually be possible, that they could have made a mistake there. my understanding, I'm not a World of Warcraft player, so I could be wrong, but my understanding is the update system, so patching in particular, does actually use a either BitTorrent or a BitTorrent-like protocol. So it may not be the actual game being throttled, but the updates may be. I'm not sure if the game does any BitTorrent content. That sounds a little fishy, but the update system I'm pretty sure does. So that's all I got to say right now.
Hey, thanks for the call. And, they did say that they were basically, because it was a software glitch, it was throttling gameplay. So Rogers did admit to that. They say it's, they weren't doing it intentionally. It was a hardware issue, and that's why it's going to be until June before the hardware can be fixed in order for them to stop throttling World of Warcraft. So we'll see how this develops for the folks up at Rogers. The question is, the Rogers ISP's got to be using the same gear that the rest of the country's using, isn't it? Why would their gear be special and they'd be the only ones having issues? That probably is my question. Next voicemail is from Trucker Tom. Here we go.
Hey Todd, Tom Wiles here, a.k.a. Trucker Tom. I'm just listening to your latest podcast, and I heard you talk about an article where Belgian truck drivers are being stopped by some sort of like an RIAA enforcement agency trying to make sure that they're not listening to music that they don't have a license to listen to, and making them pay. Now, if somebody is either listening to the radio, or let's say they have an MP3 player, or they have an iPod, or how are they going to determine whether or not they have a license to listen to that?
Good
or
question.
Maybe they're just catching people that have burned CDs or something. That sounds insane, and in order to really enforce that, they would have to really be invasive and just figure out what's on the iPod, or figure out what they're, if they've got CDs, or inspect their trucks thoroughly. To me, that's just insane. These people that we're dealing with are mafia. And so the way to deal with this is to just stop listening to the music. Quit. Stop listening to any kind of RIAA licensed music. I stopped listening to it a long time ago. I can't tell you the names of the artists. I can't, except the ones that people talk about. I can't tell you the names of the songs. I don't listen to the radio. I haven't listened to the radio for almost 7 years now, and I don't buy music. Sorry, that's absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, keep up the great work. We'll catch you later.
Hey, Tom, I couldn't say it better. It is ridiculous, and that's true. Quit listening to regular music. Listen to podcasts. I know you are. All right, got a few email comments. Got an email from Brad. Hey, Todd, been a part of the Honda for about 5 years. Your show format is classic and doesn't cry out for change. Look at Saturday Night Live. It has a rigid format, yet each show stands alone as a creative work. The same template has worked for over 40 years. It's your show, and if you're getting bored with the format and want to change, I can certainly understand. But as a listener, there's certainly no boredom on my end. Thanks, Brad. Brad, I appreciate it. Got an email here from Bo. He said, "Hey Todd, ICANN is for the whole internet and not just for the United States. I know that the American government wants to control it, but the rest of the world doesn't like that." Bo is out of Sweden. I agree, Bo. I understand your frustration. Got an email from Henry. He says, "Aloha, Todd. I've listened for the last 2 podcasts where we discussed taxing miles driven. Here's why I believe the government wants to do it. As fuel economy improves, more people start driving hybrids or electric cars, less gas taxes collected to maintain roads. To get drivers to pay their fair share to maintain the roads, we'll all drive on a mileage-based tax. Mileage-based tax is going to happen. Here is what I base my theory on. Years ago, here in Michigan, when you bought your vehicle license plate, the fee was based on the weight of the vehicle. As vehicles to improve economy began to get lighter, fees got less. In 1984, the state switched their fee structure to the cost of the vehicle, which keeps going up. The state now has a steady income stream. If we become a mass transit society, expect a transit tax to be quickly implemented. Thanks for the continued high-quality, tax-free podcast." Henry in Livonia, Michigan. And you know what, Henry? You're absolutely right. It's just so true, yeah? And but you know what they're going to do? They're going to charge us a special tax for the electricity we use to charge our vehicles. That's what they're going to do. Got an email here, says it's from Bill. Hey, Todd, I think it's safe to say that most geeks would not find anything fashion-related interesting, but I think in this case there's an exception. This site shows Star Wars costumes on how they would have looked in 1942. He says, and it basically goes to bitrebels.com. I have a link up in the show notes for you. On a more serious note, I can't believe that the merger with AT&T and T-Mobile is even up for consideration. Didn't we fight against this sort of thing before? It is proof that companies cannot be trusted because all they are really out for is themselves. The customers are merely pawns to an end, their bottom line. If this goes through, the customers can expect there will be even more fees, restrictions, and caps than there are now. Who's going to stop them? Not to mention the new restrictions and fees we'll probably see on roaming. It certainly won't get better. I've been a Sprint customer for over a decade, and yes, there was a time when their customer service was really bad. But they've made great improvements every time I call, which is a rare need. I get good service. They still have unlimited plans I think are reasonable. As long as they continue it as they are, I'll be staying with them for as long as they can survive in the proposed duality if it gets approved. Thanks always for a great show. Bill out of Coatesville, Pennsylvania. And the last email is from Lamar. It says, Todd, I understand that your show has grown, but I like the show format. Your show is unique. That is why I'm still subscribed. I hope the change isn't too drastic. Lamar. Thanks, Lamar, from your iPhone. All right, folks, that's it. We're at a wrap here, and this is the first episode with green screen, and a little bit of the green screen is edging out behind me when I went to this different view, but I hope that you enjoyed it. Those of you that are on the audio audience, I know we had some video elements in here. Don't worry. Just go to those articles in the show notes, and if nothing else, check the video out for the first time, because it's kind of fun doing the video stuff tonight. And I didn't quite know which way to look because the screen alignments are different. But, it's all about having fun. It's about having fun and doing the show. But it's been my pleasure to bring you the podcast. Email your comments to geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. Voicemail hotline 619-342-7365. We'll see you next time. Aloha.